Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, depending on where you are and when you are seeing this. You're welcome to another episode of the Gifted TV show. Today we have an amazing person. When I say amazing person, it's not the usual amazing person. This is a practical amazing person on the show with us. She's a marketing communications professional. She's a lot. Like, should I just start? Don't worry. When you listen to her bio, you will get to know her better. Please don't touch that dial. Don't go away. Watch this interview till the end. And I promise you, this will be the best interview you've watched in a long time. See you on the other side.
Ofon Emmanuel is a marketing communication professional with experience across nonprofit, media, and tech. Our expertise in digital marketing/strategy, digital corporate communications, PR, and media has given her the opportunity to work on B2B and B2C products and deliver communication strategies for SaaS and PaaS companies. As a thing of passion for female development and advocacy for empowerment, she founded Femme Lead Africa to solve for development among young girls with a focus on capacity building in leadership, entrepreneurship/career, and tech. She is a firm believer that has the capacity building and advocacy for resources/infrastructure for female development, which is the solution to some GBV issues. She has been recognized with several awards from prestigious organizations because of her work in the development sector. She is privileged to have hosted 60 plus development programs for youth and women and has made attempts to incorporate capacity building as CSR for the corporate organizations she has worked with. She is also a speaker and personal development trainer. She authored a book titled 20s and More to inspire and educate young persons on professional and personal development. Join us as we make welcome Ofon Emmanuel to Gifted TV show.
My welcome to the Gifted TV show.
Thank you.
I'm super excited to have you here. I don't know why I feel so excited whenever some persons I look up to, whenever they grace our show, I'm always super excited because it's like a dream come true for me. All right, you're welcome, ma.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so first we'll start by, because definitely our audience must have listened to your bio and all of that, and like I will always say, it's not always the same thing. Listening to someone's bio and hearing the person talk about themselves and what they do is it's way different, right? And it sounds the feeling, yeah, you understand. The feeling is so hard. So yeah, today we have an amazing person on set with us. Of course, it's someone you love, and she's going to be introducing herself to us. Please, if you're planning to leave this show after 5 minutes, today is not that day, so you have to wait till the end of this show. All right. So you're welcome once again, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, ma'am. Please, can you introduce yourself to us?
Okay, everybody. I go by the name. Please scratch that. My name is Ofon Emmanuel Etuk.
Okay.
Is that all you want? Or I should do a full
introduction.
Okay, great. My name is Ofon Emmanuel. I'm a marketing communications professional. Altogether, I have over 10 years of experience doing marketing communications. But in the corporate world, I have over 6 years of experience doing marketing communications for industries like media, non-profits, and currently I am in the fintech space. So I'm excited to be here. I'm also the founder of Femme Lead Africa. Femme Lead Africa is a gender development organization where we offer capacity building programs for women and girls across Nigeria.
Wow, 10 years is a long time. Well, can you tell us about your journey in the marketing communication industry?
Okay, so I like to mention that I have 10 years because when I started communications generally, I was a random girl in secondary school.
Wow.
Yeah, writing stories, trying to publish things. So I grew up in a bookshop. My father owned a bookshop, and of course you do a lot of reading, a lot of writing. And so I was exposed to all of that. I started contributing to, some published materials. And then up until university, I was editor-in-chief of a magazine all throughout university. That magazine was specifically for a religious organization. And then I moved on to doing radio, internship opportunities here and there. I moved on to doing advertising, and then I entered the corporate world fully, where I led business communications.
Wow.
And then went on to do more marketing roles, still communications and marketing.
So for you, how has the journey been? Has it been worth it? Has it been interesting all the way? Or like something you love, or you just feel that, let me just do it?
So you know that there are certain things that people look at you and say, you look like somebody that does this.
Yeah.
So that's how marketing and communications has been for me.
Wow.
Because when it has to do with selling and creating different touch points for customers to engage with, the actual communication of your products, I sort of do well in that.
Wow.
And so when I'm talking about a business, a product or opportunity, people tend to, I like the way you speak.
Wow.
I like the way you write. So this is me creating different touch points for a product or a brand. And that's basically what marketing communication is. Speaking, writing, creating the channels, developing those channels, and, putting the content where they should be.
Yeah. So, like recently, I discovered that some persons like started talking about the industry and kept emphasizing on it. And my question has been: is it that the industry is new, or it has always been there, or it just gained popularity? Like,
so it has always been there.
Okay.
What happened is with social media, everything blows up.
Okay.
Because now the world is a global village right now. You pick up your phone and you can literally see what somebody in the UK has posted, right? Back in the day, that was not the case. So if you're in advertising, for instance, when you create your TVC, that's TV commercials, you put it on TV. But right now, you can create your TVC, your ad, your video, and put it on social media. And it will probably give you more attention or more reach, depending on what you want to achieve. So it's just social media making everything blow up. It has always been there. It has been an amazing opportunity for people to get to interact with brands, because without marketing communications, how do you get to know what brands are doing? It's like creating, for instance, for FMCG, let's say somebody creating a good cocoa product, and you don't have people putting the word out there, telling others, and just creating different touch points for customers to then engage with. So, it's just social media doing its thing.
What? So, sorry, I really need to understand, because someone watching this show will like, what exactly is marketing communication? So the person who is joining me to to determine if it's majorly about marketing or advertising or just talking, like, what exactly is it?
So integrated marketing communications is generally every effort you put into making sure that your potential customers find your products. So I don't want to even go through the whole thing about 5 P's of marketing and all of that. But generally, if you're thinking about a product, what do you need to do to make sure that your customers, your potential customers, different stakeholders for that product get to see that product in its best states? And so that could involve writing, speaking, ad campaigns, digital marketing, content marketing, just different touch points where people can. So there's also the channels here. So if you've created this beautiful video talking about your products and how it benefits your potential customers, you want to think about, where are my potential customers? Are they on TikTok? Are they on my website? Where do I put this great ad campaign or video, this great even design? Where do I put it so that my customers can, reach it, and not just reach it, go through the entire funnel of getting them to the point where you want them to be. So that's exactly what's marketing communication. So it's end to end, generally from, the products to where you want the buyers to get to. So it can be, maybe you just want people to see the product and know about the product, which is awareness. So your goal is impression, right?
Yeah.
If you want people to buy the product, so your goal is conversion. So the entire funnel is marketing communication.
So for someone to be a very effective marketing professional, what are the, let's say, top 3 skills you feel they need to have?
First thing, so marketing communications is very wide, very wide. Some people are more on the marketing side and some people are more on the communication side, but they work hand in hand. So there's so many roles, like 1,000 roles that you can, pick from marketing communications. Yeah. So again, the skills vary, but ultimately I would say, first thing is you are a good listener. Because whatever you're creating, let's say listener or observer, you're creating for a customer or a potential customer. So you need to understand who they are. You need to observe and listen to their needs, what they need per time. So you're not, overwhelming them with what you think they need. Wow. Or the kind of communication style you think they like. So you want to observe, listen, and, research. Know what they would potentially, be attracted to, so that you can communicate your products in that way to them. Another one would be, you have to be a good storyteller.
Wow, very important.
You need to, whether you're going to tell the story through writing, you're going to tell the story through videos or visuals, you need to be a good storyteller, because in the end, people relate more with stories. People want to know how that product is solving their own issue, and you can only let them know by telling stories. So those stories can, range from, what the product can do for them, how this product is changing lives, the impact this product is making, just different things, different stories you can curate, so that your potential customers can relate with that product and then engage the way you want them to engage.
Wow. I think I already say I think I'll become a marketing professional because it sounds very, very interesting. Yes, all right, so moving on, let's talk about your NGO.
Okay. Okay, so should I go?
Tell us about it.
So, Femme Lead Africa, my baby.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, let me just piggyback and talk about a little bit why I started Femme Lead Africa. Okay. So, like I said before in my intro, Femme Lead Africa is a gender development organization where I, focus on capacity building for women and girls. And, growing up with my brothers, I am the last child and the only girl child in my family, and I have 4 older brothers. Wow. And just having questions, about myself, and not being able to approach them, because there's this thing about they might not have answers to my questions. I remember I was about 9 years old when I went to my father, and I told my father, "Hey, Daddy, this thing is paining me. Oh my God. This thing is paining me." My father, and I remember that I was wearing a gown. So I pulled my gown up and I was showing my father that this thing is paining me. And he was slightly embarrassed, because these are not the conversations they typically have. So what he did was, he was like, that I was going to be fine, that I should hold on for my mom to visit. So my mom worked in another state. So he said I should hold on for my mom to visit. When my mom visits, I should let her know what the problem was. But my mom didn't visit immediately. Yeah. So what he did, and I think that was what changed my life at the time, was that, remember I said my father owns a bookstore. Yeah. So he was really into books. What he did was look for a book that would answer some of the questions that I had. Yeah. So it was in that book. He bought me a book. That book is called Just for Girls. In that book, I read that book and I was like, okay, so that thing that was paining me on my chest was my breasts actually growing. Do you understand? I'm like, so it's puberty. Why this thing is happening this way? Because it's puberty. Yeah. I started learning all those things. So even before I think the following year I got into secondary school, and I started to see other people, when you go to a boarding house, you see other people interact, you see their bodies are also changing, just like the way yours is changing.
Yeah.
So for me, I wanted to create that opportunity where girls who don't have the privilege to have all their questions answered would get their questions answered within the confines of a community or an initiative. So we reach out to girls and women, and I don't limit it to puberty or everything that has to do with the feminine body. I also go on to talk about capacity building in terms of empowerment, career development, leadership, because I want to see more women win in different spheres of their lives.
Wow, this is so beautiful and also hilarious. All right, so can you tell us some of the program or projects you've carried out for the DC people?
Yeah,
all these people, we are part of the right, the target audience.
Yeah,
if I should use that, like some of the projects you worked with.
So we've done several, maybe over 60 projects right now. So we've done employability series, which I'm always passionate about. I love career development talks.
Yeah.
And so I'm always passionate about creating an opportunity where undergraduates, fresh graduates understand what career development is and position themselves. So we've had employability series, we've had tech series where we trained more than 40 girls and women in digital skills. We've had the Dear Girl book campaign. So let me talk about that.
Last year.
Yeah. So we've had different sessions this year as well.
Wow.
So Dear Girl book is the book where I literally wanted to, because we have different campaigns where we go to different cities, different states, engaging girls in different conversations. But every time we leave, I feel like there's no point of engagement for them. So what I decided to do was gather stories and put it in a book so that when we come to your location, we can do whatever we want to do. But when we leave the books with you so that you can go through. Remember that a book changed my life. Yeah, exactly. So I wanted to make sure that we don't just talk and walk away. We leave you with a book so that you can read through and have some of your questions answered. So it contains stories, many stories of abuse, stories of career development, stories of, friendship, stories of esteem, different stories, because you know that people relate more with stories. So if you read something that, you are also passing through, you can take some lessons and glean from there. So, it's been amazing. We've gone to 4 schools now.
Wow.
Because we are targeting girls in schools. So we've gone to 4 schools now and we've done over 500 copies of the book for now. So we're going to reach more girls. We're still looking for funding.
Wow. That's a whole lot. Thank you so much, Ma, for that, and God bless you. All right, so talking about this, if someone wants to be a part of the transformation, which is of course is already ongoing, how can the person be a part of that?
Okay, so if you want to be a part of the Dear Girl book campaign, which I think everybody, because you have a girl in your neighborhood who cannot approach her father because she thinks her father may not have the answers, who cannot approach her grandmother because her grandmother is stern. You have a girl, just somewhere who needs answers to questions about her body, about her future, about esteem, about, things that are going wrong with her. So I think you should be part of it. So you can send me a message on Instagram. My Instagram handle, actually, Ofon Emmanuel everywhere. Ofon, OFON, everywhere on social media. Or you can send us a message on our page, Femme Lead Africa, FEMME Lead Africa, and we will respond to you and engage further.
Thank you so much, Ma. Let's talk about your book. So I need some more. Tell us about your book.
So I am all about capacity building, because what more? Because you can be talented, but if you're not consciously building yourself to set yourself in that place where other people can benefit from you, I think that you're not impacting the world. And I mean, what else do you have to do in the world?
Yeah.
So I wrote 20s and more because I wanted to intentionally put down my thoughts, not just my thoughts, some of the learnings that I've had over the years, because I believe that I have been privileged to be exposed to so many opportunities. And I wanted to just let other people my age, even older people, know that these things are possible. And so I didn't limit it to 20s, which is why I said 20s and more. So you have your youth to achieve a lot. You just need to be intentional. You just need to know different areas of your life where you should position yourself strategically to achieve those goals and also be a blessing to others. Because the reason why you're chasing what you're chasing is not so that you can make money for yourself. It's so that you can achieve whatever success it is for you, for other people, so that other people can be influenced, can be impacted upon. So that's why I wrote 20s and more. And it's been amazing. It's funny how I haven't printed more copies since the last one.
Wow.
But I still have requests for that. And just maybe I'll be motivated after this conversation to print more copies. So yeah, that's all about
Please,
20s
you have to
and more.
do. You have to do, because I just feel someone watching this show right now, like, how can I get this book?
No.
I need it. How can I get this book?
No.
Of course, you know, giving out your handle and all of that, they can always reach out to
Yeah,
you.
sure.
So now let's talk about capacity building and personal development. I see that you are someone who is so into capacity building.
Yeah.
Like, what? Why that passion for it?
So, I get asked that question a lot. And I usually say that if I wasn't doing marketing communications in my corporate life, I most likely would have been doing HR. I most likely would have been doing HR. As a matter of fact, I actually enrolled for CIPM to become a professional, certified, chartered HR professional. But I decided to go more for something that, entirely speaks Ofon. So, capacity building and personal development, because that's what it should be. Because I don't like people to play ordinary. You are not ordinary. You are extraordinary. But you cannot know that if you are not intentional about your growth. You cannot know that if you are not putting the building blocks where it should be. Yeah. So capacity building because there's more to you. Capacity building because the world is waiting for your shine. Capacity building because there's so many people's rising that is connected to your own rising. So you can't play small. You can't be less of yourself. You need to keep chasing for higher calling. You need to keep stepping into what God has called you to be. And if you don't do that, so many people are suffering. If you don't do that, God will raise men to do it. So you might as well start doing it, because so many people will get liberated. So many people will get impacted if you are consciously building yourself. If you are consciously saying, you know what? If there's going to be one girl that will shine, if there's going to be one boy that will shine, it is going to be me. So there's no greater calling than that. Than just making sure that if there's illumination, you are the light that is causing that illumination. So that's why I love capacity building a lot. I would say I am multi-influential because there's so many parts to me. Wow. There's just so many parts to me. But in every expression of myself, there has to be light. In every expression of my calling, my gifting, every potential that I have to be light. Yeah. So that takes a lot of stretching, and that stretching, in that process of building is the capacity building, is the personal development, is the becoming. Yeah. That's it for me.
So, what I feel is that most people believe this personal development or capacity building is basically for young people. Like they feel once, those in their 30s, sometimes they try, but once they are 35, 40, they feel, what? People should do that. Let me just focus on maybe chasing the bag, running my business. They don't even go further Probably if they want to go for any development, it should be probably professional development, so that they can be promoted and get paid more. So something that is outside their job, you won't see them there. So they believe probably it's for young people, those that are coming up. What do you have to say about that?
So capacity building is in all forms, whether it's professional, whether it's emotional, whether just all forms.
Yeah.
And we see people decide what they want per time.
Okay.
So whether they are 50 or not,
Yeah.
people would always go for what they believe they need, and again, that takes a lot of self-reflection to decide what you need per time. Very recently, I am paying for an emotional development course, and I'm doing that because I have begun to realize certain areas of my life where I'm triggered and I'm like, why was I triggered?
Triggers, yeah.
Okay, this is it. So do I need to develop myself in that? Do I need to, read so and so book? What do I need to do to step into that? I also began to read a book, Deep Work. I realized that because I do a lot of work, there's just so many parts to me. So because I do a lot of work, I tend to have a lot of tabs open in my head. So like I have,
Yeah.
and then it doesn't allow me to give my 100% per time. And so what I've done is identify what I need. I see that I need to learn how to focus on deep work. I need to learn how to give my 100%, even though I have several tabs open in my mind. Mark Zuckerberg probably has 100 meetings in a day. How is he able to give his 100%? So I want to read books that will open up my mind to what I can do, because as we grow older, we think that we are going to be less busy, but it's not true.
More busy.
You are going to have more responsibilities.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that I'm giving my 100%. So it's not limited to young people. You would find that whether people are in their 50s or in their 30s, there's something they need per time, and they will only go for what they think that they need, which means that we should always be self-reflecting. It shouldn't be about us. Give yourself an opportunity, or give other people an opportunity to evaluate you and say, if I talk to 5 of my friends, what do they think I need to develop this time, right now? So if you talk to maybe 5 of my friends, what they will tell you, because I've just done that very recently, is that they need me to be more present in their friendships.
Wow.
Do you understand? So I'm making that very practical right now. So you think of it that way. So that means that I have friends, but I'm not so present in their lives.
Yeah.
And that's a hurtful feedback, because you're thinking to yourself, oh, I'm doing well. I have friends, but if they don't feel that way towards you, you're just shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
So you want to ask questions and be vulnerable enough for them to give you that feedback, and you go back and do the work. So if you need to set an alarm on your phone to talk to your friends for 30 minutes in a day, set the alarm. That is you intentionally building yourself.
Yeah.
That is the actual personal development. It doesn't have to be you paying for a course.
Yeah.
It's you doing the work after getting feedback from friends, people who, genuinely care about you, who are telling you that this is what you need to develop yourself. For instance, somebody can tell you that, hey, Florence, I think you talk too much in the office. It's hurtful to hear that you're a talkative. But what do you need to do? What areas? Because again, not all feedback is useful. So who is that person to you? How much do you value their opinion in your life?
Where is the comment coming from?
Exactly. Where is it coming from? Are they intimidated by my bold nature? Is that why they're saying so? So whatever it is, when you do your math, your calculation, your evaluation, you decide how you want to move on from there and how you want to engage with the subject.
Wow. You just did justice to it. All right. So one more question before we move to the next thing.
Okay.
Now, there is this saying that at the time was circulating in the online space. So coaches and persons, they will tell you, focus on one thing, do one thing, don't be jack of all trade, master of none. But then at a time I decided to disagree with them, because starting out, I wasn't this aware, self-aware, right? But aside the online space, I wasn't this self-aware. There was so many things I needed to work on, which of course pushed me to attending so many classes. That was 2019, 2020 when I was attending. My mom got angry. She said she would stop sending me because then I was doing my NC. I haven't started working. She said she would stop giving me money, that they keep on scamming me in the online space. I said, Mom, it's not a scam. Like, I'm trying to develop myself. Like, they tell you, stick to one thing. Assuming I listened to what they said, so many things I know now, I wouldn't have known them. So many things I'm aware of right now, I wouldn't have been aware of them. Because, so at a point, I was thinking, are they correct or not? Because even in the aspect of skill, if you are to narrow down to one thing, I think there should be a level you get to, then you then narrow down. Not when you're starting out. Because let's take, for example, generally I'm a virtual assistant and I need so many skills. I need so many skills to make sure that my boss have an easy and stress-free life. So you're telling me to narrow down to one thing. A time will come, probably something might happen, a graphic designer is not, she say, oh, Florence, can you just design this? I say, I don't know how to do it. At that point, I might be doing my job, but I'm not being effective. So, like, what I'm saying at the end of the day is that saying, that stuff they normally say, am I the one overthinking it? Oh,
So you're definitely not overthinking it. So Ofon is a marketing communications professional. Ofon is an event host. Ofon is a writer. Ofon is a mentor. Ofon is different things.
Yeah.
Literally different things. Ofon is a consultant. Ofon, like, I can tell you a whole lot of things that I do. Wow. The ones that I do for money. Ofon is a development expert. She's a founder of Femme Lead Africa. There are about 60 volunteers under her. There's just so many parts to me. However, you would realize that you would always handle things as important as they are per time. So it's not a problem if you know how to do so many things, if you're into so many things. In fact, I love multi-potentialites.
Yeah.
This is why, because they are also multi-influential. So it means that you're not just a graphic designer. You can speak and impact people. So you don't just have the multi-potential. You have the ability to influence people in multiple spheres, which is really good because, I mean, it means that you have more stages. You have more places to shine your lights, which is important. So I understand when people say, oh, you need to focus. It depends. Yeah. For instance, in the corporate world, you want to be known as an expert of one thing. Yeah. For instance, you don't want to do maybe 2 years as a marketing communications person, 1 year as an HRO, another year as a customer service, another 1 year. Like every year you are changing, so that's different. That's different. But you must give yourself the opportunity to express your other giftings, your other calling, your other abilities. Give yourself that opportunity. See, I would rather die expressing everything that God has called me to be, every gift, every talent, every tiny ability that I have, than say, oh, I don't want people to see me as, being scattered, being everywhere. No, everybody's going to be fine. People who like the Ofon, who is an event host, are going to plug into that. People who love the Ofon, who is a 9-to-5 professional corporate girl, they are going to plug into that. Yeah. People who love Ofon, who is in the development space, trying to make sure that girls are living their best lives, they are going to plug into that. But what Ofon is not going to do is do less, so that people won't brand her somebody who looks scattered.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So you need to tap into what many things God has called you to be, whatever ability it is. It will not show up everywhere, but it will show up in specific spaces and allow yourself to shine. It's okay. And something you said about, you were taking so many courses. See, if you ever find yourself taking so many courses, maybe you're in the university, you're fresh out of school, you're taking so many courses, and people are complaining, don't worry. It is just telling us one thing. It's a sign that there's a yearning, there's a burning in your spirit to be more.
Yeah.
And so you just keep thinking that, if I take this course, there's something I'm going to get from it that will change my life. It's a yearning to be more, and it's okay. It's okay. Time will come when everything begins to make sense. I told you about me paying for my CIPM certification. Right now, I do not do HR, but I paid for that because a mentor said to me, I had helped her hire her staff. I had helped her do the whole onboarding and everything. And she was like, I think you should do HR. Go and sign up for this. And I said, okay, because I can do it, And so I realized that, even though I have done that, I do not want to operate in that sphere as a corporate person. So what have I done? I do career mentorship. Every week, I set out hours of my time to make sure that I'm mentoring people, not just in Nigeria, across the world. Yeah. So am I operating in that calling? Yes, I am. But do I have to put a stamp on my name to say I am an HR? Nah, not really. So please give yourself the opportunity to explore. One of the articles that I wrote sometime on LinkedIn was when I said, if you're starting out your career, you don't want to niche down so soon, especially, for instance, in marketing communications. Yeah. It's so wide that you don't want to niche down so soon because you don't yet know what you thrive in. Yeah. You don't yet know what makes you tick. You're basically just doing so many different things. For instance, in marketing communications, there's events and sponsorship, there's content marketing, there's SEO optimization, there's copywriting, there's PR, there's just different parts of it. But if you don't do everything, how would you know the one that amplifies your ability or the one you would even love? So don't niche down, too soon. Just take your time, explore all the options that you have, but make your decision quickly and decide the things that you want to do, even if they are 10.
Wow. It has seen the conversation and I was literally enjoying myself. All right. So you made mention about those in the university, those freshly out of school and all of that. So I wanted to talk in that light because almost every interview I have, I always, ask this question. I remember when I was about to graduate from school, which is like a few months ago, we just gathered having a conversation. Then one of my classmates said, Florence, I'm confused. I don't know what to do with my life after school. I'm like, I don't understand. You're 400 level. You graduate in less than 2 weeks. I don't know what to do with your life. I'm a jovial person. So I was like probably laughing. I'm serious, Florence. I'm serious. I'm like, okay, this is becoming serious. So what are you talking about? She don't know what to do. That she's even scared of after school, then she will have to start looking for a job, walking the whole street of Lagos. She don't know what to do with her life. Then because she's speaking to me because they know that I do some online stuff and all of that. And I discovered that after talking with her, I discovered that a lot more people are that way. So I don't know if there should be more awareness created for young people that don't just be in university and sit down one place. Just attend class. When you're back, you sleep, you eat, you go to fellowship, you go back. Same routine. Like, should there be an awareness, or these people are aware they're not doing these things, or they are scared, or they just don't want to fail, or their parents I don't know. Like, I wanted to talk about coming from the light of career professional. You say you mentor people. Obviously, I saw that post on Facebook and I was excited. You opened your calendar. Like you said, a couple of people should book. You're going to walk them through the process. I was like, wow, this is so beautiful.
So I have initially, I used to be so angry at people who don't have a plan or who don't know what they want.
Yeah.
All right. But I've come to learn to give grace to people because I may have had the opportunity to be exposed to different things that are towards professional side. But there are some other areas where I was lacking.
Yeah.
For instance, when it has to do with my romantic life, relationships and all of that, I couldn't be bothered because I wasn't exposed to all of those conversations.
Yeah.
But there are people who are in their 100 level, they already know the type of man they want to get married to.
Wow.
They already, they are aware when it has to do with that. There's a knowing that they have, and it comes from maybe some exposure. So practically, I grew up with my brothers. Of course, we are not talking relationship. Do you understand? Nobody is bringing up, my parents are not bringing up all of that. So it took me a while for me to realize, okay, so it's true. We'll actually get married. So we need to get married. That's when I began to say, okay, so what do I want? Oh, I started this relationship. I don't think I want it. Do you understand?
Yeah.
But imagine other people who had awareness in that. The people who, from their 100 level, they already, their siblings already probably had siblings who had gotten married. They are used to those conversations. So you need to give grace to people who don't have that exposure when it has to do with professional development. You have been lucky. I have been lucky to have that exposure quite early. But even though you have that exposure, there are still certain mistakes that you realize that you make as you go on in life.
Yeah.
And so for people who need clarity on professional development, people who need to understand what they should be doing, first things first, I always say, who are you? It takes a while for people to understand who they are or even be able to articulate it. So I usually say, what are 10 things about you that you like about you? What are 10 things that people say they like about you? It's going to take, if you've never done it before, it's going to take a while for you to write it out because you're going to think deeply. But if you've done it before, it may take you maybe 5 minutes to finish it up. When you've finished all of that, you do, what are your strengths? Not what people say, not what you think. What is actually your strength? For instance, my strength, I do well with communicating with my voice. Secondly, I do well communicating with my pen. So I see that those are my strengths. So what do I need to do to play into those strengths? What careers are there that plays into those strengths so easily without thinking deeply? Communications.
Yeah.
So I don't need to think about it deeply because now I see that people say, oh, I love the way you speak. I love the way you write. Oh, I read this thing that you wrote. I really loved it. So I can already say, oh, 1 + 1 is 2. So, let's move forward. Again, what do you want to do? Because you can have strength in certain things, but it's not really what you want to do, say in the professional side of things. So you need to answer those questions for yourself. And it may take a while, but sit with yourself. You need to sit with yourself and decide that, okay, this is what I want to do. These are my strengths. These are my weaknesses. This, something that's your weakness might be something that you want to do, you like to do. So it means that you need to develop that area. So by the time you sit with yourself and answer all these questions, to be honest, I usually leave my calendar open for some time. Maybe you can schedule a session. I don't mind. But you need to sit with yourself even before any session.
Yeah.
And think that if this is who I am, this is what others think of me, this is my strength, this is my weakness, this is what I want to do, what career ties into all of that?
Yeah.
For instance, without thinking, if I wasn't doing marketing communications, I have already mentioned that I will be doing HR without thinking because it comes naturally for me to manage people. It comes naturally for me to want to talk about everything that has to do with career development, people management, organizational conversations. It comes naturally to me.
Yeah.
So for me, it just works. So ask yourself those questions and make sure that you're answering those questions correctly and then deciding what career and again, finally, you need to speak to professionals, other professionals, mentors. So for instance, if you decide that you are a good designer, you have strength in design, you're a great artist, people say they love your painting and all of that. Speak to a designer.
Wow.
Speak to somebody who has done maybe 5 to 10 years in the corporate space doing designing. Let them know what you think and let's them tell you what they think about, your decision or whatever you want to do.
All right. So what will you say? We're almost coming to the end of the interview. So what will you say to a newbie that's into the marketing communication industry? What will you say to them?
The world's your stage, and you have to start somewhere. And in starting somewhere, you need to allow yourself to experience everything in the Marcom space.
Yeah.
So don't limit yourself, even though it's not something you have to do at work. Make sure that you're building those skills, whether you're volunteering, because I know people don't like to hear anything that has to do with free work. So, how do you build your skills if you're not doing some sort of free work or a lowly paid job? So make sure you are developing your skills. The world is your stage. You just have to start somewhere and be open to having conversations with people who have been there, done that, and can give you a few tips.
Wow, thank you so much, Ma. Before I ask you to say a parting word to our audience, I wanted to touch on balance as a career professional.
Okay.
So many persons are like, all I do is work. So like you said earlier, that a time came, you looked around, you saw that there was a part of your life you were not giving attention to, your friends and all of that. So someone might be in Sensu right now saying that everybody is complaining, that all they do is work. So what would be your advice to them?
So you see that thing called balance. I usually say, repeat the same thing that my role model, Ibuko Aoshika.
Yeah.
I love her so much. And some of the things, she would always say that this question, people ask me a lot. And she likes to say that wherever you find yourself, if it's 100, you need to give to that project right now. Give your 100. If you need to give, if you are 20 in that other project, right? And your remaining 80 is for another project. Just make sure that you're giving your best per time. You can't do it. You can't do it all. At the same time. You can have all these tabs open in your head, but you can't attend to everything the same time, the same minute, the same second. So just decide that, okay, from this hour to this hour, I want to work on this. And choose to work on that. From this hour to this hour, I want to call my parents. I want to call my friends. You focus on that. From this hour to this hour, I want to work on this side project or this side hustle or whatever. You focus on that. Because there's really no balance. It can seem like a myth because you can't
balance all equally.
Yes. So just give what you need to give per time and make sure that the people you're working with understand that you're giving your best, for whatever project you're working on.
Wow, thank you so much, Ma. It has been an amazing time with you. To tell you that I learned so much, like it's like a fresh start for me. Thank you so much, Ma, for bringing out time to do this. So your final word to our audience.
Okay. So final words from me. If there's one person that should be the light, you should be that one person. So don't dim your lights for anybody. Be the best version of yourself and continue to win.
Oh, so sweet. Thank you so much, Mara. So thank you so much for joining the Gifted TV show today. We're excited to have you. Please do not forget to subscribe if it's your first time. Now you've listened to this show, you've learned so much, right? Please share with somebody. Talk to somebody about it. There's other people who needs to learn from this conversation we just had now. So we meet again in the next episode of the Gifted TV show. Shani Samuel Godfrey is your host, and I am Florence. I am your co-host. Bye-bye.